Hey everyone, Sky here to discuss The Shining, starring Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, and Danny Lloyd, and directed by Stanley Kubrick. Now, I have seen this movie once before. I watched it twice for this show, but I remember falling asleep at the ending. But, well, did I like it then? Well, let's get into it right now. Let's just see what's going on. We open the movie with Jack Torrance, played by Jack Nicholson, driving to an interview with the Overlook Hotel, which will be closed for the winter, but someone wants Jack to run while the winter is going. Meanwhile, his wife Wendy, played by Shelley Duvall, and son Danny, played by Danny Lloyd, joins him to go for the winter while Jack does get the job. And I really like these characters since they're the only ones we can really relate to. And Kubrick does a great job with the development of the characters versus the location shots and the horror of what will happen to these characters as they're isolated at the hotel for 6 months. And I've seen a few Stanley Kubrick's movies, for example. I have seen half of Full Metal Jacket, but I have yet to finish it. I really enjoy his movies. Danny meets a man named Dick Halloran, played by Scatman Crothers, who calls him Doc, and he will be more important later in the film, but he is a good character to connect with along with the Torrances. He also calls Danny that because his parents called him that because of the Bugs Bunny cartoons he watches. And the power they both have, where they know they're both in trouble, called The Shining, which is why that's the name of the movie. And I really like that explanation, to be honest with you. A month later, Danny rides his little bicycle on one long continuous shot, which is a very good shot, and later in the film we're still on him until two little girls say to Danny, "Come play with us forever and ever and ever," which is fucking terrifying. While Jack is working and Wendy distracts him, and he gets started on acting like an asshole and slowly becomes a complete psycho, and that is great acting by the actors. And Wendy realizes the lines are down, and on the telephone lines I'm talking about, and talks to someone on the radio, and the cinematography in the hotel is fucking gorgeous. The days are going by as Jack is getting slowly possessed by the evil of the hotel, and the way it works up being scarier every time isn't brief, but it works fucking great. And he dreams that he kills Wendy and Danny as Danny gets attacked by a woman who scarred him in the bathroom in the neck. And that freaks me the fuck out, because you can picture in your imagination. While Jack is slowly getting possessed, Halloran gets a sign that Danny knows something about red rum, which is murdered spelled backwards. And that's one of the two iconic things from this movie. I'll get to the second one later, but that is the most clever but fucking terrifying it could ever be. It even scared the living shit out of me. Then he telephones the same someone who talked to Wendy on the radio before and doesn't get a hold of them because Jack turned off the radio, and Halloran goes up to the hotel while Danny thinks of a river full of blood coming out of an elevator is a very great shot. And I'm impressed with Kubrick's shots here, and it's a shame Stephen King doesn't like this movie. Jack imagines people in the building when there absolutely is no one in the building, which is a good way to scare your audience, I must say. The way Danny has his imaginary friend says red rum sounds creepy, as his mother, aka Wendy, is scared to being inside the hotel anymore. And Halloran is on his way on an airplane and gets off snow car to the Overlook Hotel. And that was as scary as a motherfucker. I do like Danny watching the Roadrunner cartoons as Wendy tries to whack Jack out and puts him in the cold refrigerator, And I'm loving the way the movie is scaring me versus slowly paced. Jack is finally let out of the refrigerator and gets an axe and attacks Wendy and Danny. And the second iconic thing, the most famous line comes in this scene. "Here's Johnny," which is said by Jack, and Wendy and Danny get out of the hotel into the maze, as Jack Johnny comes and gets them. Halloran gets him, comes in, and Jack Johnny kills him and goes after Wendy and Danny in the maze as Wendy gets lots of blood poured from the elevator, and Jack Johnny loses Danny, and Wendy finds Danny and escapes the hotel, and Jack Johnny dies in the cold with the freaky face, and that climax is scary as a motherfucker. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 8.8 out of 10. This is the scariest motherfucking movie I've seen to this day. I'm not sure if Dr. Sleep can top that. We'll see, but this is second best Stanley Kubrick movie. The best to me is 2001: A Space Odyssey, but this is a great movie with great acting. Way to go, Kubrick. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next week I will be back with Dr. Sleep. Nope, I'm not going to the TV movie of The Shining, because that's not what I'm leading up to. I'm leading up to Dr. Sleep. And until then, here's Johnny!